Okay, January is almost over, and I've been putting this off for a while now, but I should probably get to work on my actual January video. But first, before we do that, I gotta put this away for no particular reason. I just gotta put it away in the closet, or no one can find it. Whoa!
Hello there, mortal. I see you are surprised by my awesome presence. Did you just laugh?
Oh, no, I didn't laugh.
You better have not, because my power shouldn't be taken lightly. You wouldn't like to see me at my full capability. Ha! There's that laugh again. How dare you make a mockery out of me, the awesome and cool Sanguis.
I'm really sorry, buddy, but what was your name? Al again, was it? I don't mean to be rude, but while I am really concerned about why there's an emo.
I'm a vampire, thank you very much.
A vampire in my closet. I really have to get to work on this video. I've been pushing it for way too long, and so I really gotta do this, so I'm really sorry. I gotta go. I'll come back later, I promise.
Don't you dare close that door on me!
Okay, that was weird, but I will handle that later. Anyway, let's get on to the January video, and I wanted to talk about Suicide Squad, the 2016 movie. Why? I don't remember the reason. I think it was to coincide with something that was supposed to happen this month, but I guess that thing was moved to April. Don't remember what it was, and I kind of don't care, but hey, it's already planned. So we're talking about Suicide Squad, my least favorite DCEU movie. So yeah, this is a statement that everyone else has said, but Suicide Squad 2016 is not very good. And I don't want to be one of those people that goes like, oh, modern DC movies suck. It's like, I think they're definitely getting better now. Now that we're getting stuff like The Suicide Squad, which is like a masterpiece of like a comic book movie, it's great. And then like Shazam was really fun. The Snyder cut of Justice League was surprisingly better than I expected. I definitely think we're going into a good direction with these movies, and I'm excited to see what they have planned. And I hope they continue with this. But early on, with stuff like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad, man, DC's attempt at a cinematic universe was not looking that hot. I haven't seen Batman v Superman personally. Maybe I'll give it a chance one day, but for now, it's like I haven't seen it yet. But I guess I'll just say for me, Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, not that great. And Suicide Squad for me is definitely my least favorite DCEU movie. In fact, I'll probably even say it's like one of my least favorite comic book movies of all time, if I'm being honest. And like, I remember the first time I watched it, like I rented it off of Redbox, and I thought it was like fine. But I barely remembered it. And then like last year when I was rewatching it, so I can have like a compare and contrast thing with The Suicide Squad, I ended up really disliking it. Like I had such a terrible time with it. I was like throughout the whole movie, I was all like, why am I even watching this? Should I just stop? But it's like, I don't know, I was already deep in, so I could I decided to write a letterbox review about it, and it's like, man, I just remember coming out of that really displeased. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is really terrible. And it's like, and then like, when I decided to rewatch this because I always want to rewatch these movies so to see my opinions change, this time I was kind of trying to go in with a more open-minded view. Like, I was already dreading having to watch it again, but I thought, you know what, maybe it won't be as bad. Maybe like maybe there'll be some actual positives here that I haven't noticed before, and that is somewhat true. But here's the thing, after rewatching this movie again, I did not dislike it as much as I did last time, but at the same time, I think I disliked it more. If that makes any sense. That makes no sense. I'll try to explain myself. Alright, so before we get on to all the complaining and like negative stuff, which will probably be, you know, the majority of this video, I want to talk about at least some of the positives I found. Like, did I mention that a few seconds? I literally said this a few seconds ago. I don't remember if I did. My memory's terrible. Like, if I said I found some positives in this, I did find a few, but I think I found more negatives this viewing. But like, for the positives, we'll talk about that. You know, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, the actress for Amanda Waller, and maybe Rick Flag, I barely remember him in this. But like, you know, their performances were actually not that bad. You know, they were actually pretty good. They didn't save the movie at all, no, because like the writing for the characters is still bad and the story is terrible. But like, for the performances themselves, they weren't that bad. And plus, I could even see why they brought back like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn for some of the later movies, and even Amanda Waller as well. She was good. She's better in like the other movie, but still, you know, like they weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. But like I said, even good performances can't save a bad movie. So now let's get to complaining. Alright, so the story is very unmemorable and uninteresting. From what I do remember, it's about like this dancing lady and her brother, and they're turning people into goop babies, and the Suicide Squad gotta stop them. Yep, that's what I remember. There are some other things, but for the most part, this movie is very forgettable, and like I just felt so bored while watching it. Like I think I mentioned this, but like in my second viewing of the movie before this one, like from back like last year, I'm not even halfway through the movie, I felt like I didn't even want to continue watching, but I did. This time it's like not even less than that. I think very early on I didn't feel like watching it. And it's like, I didn't even watch it in one sitting. I watched it like half one day, half the other day, because that's just how I felt this time. And, but back to the story, like I said, it's like very unreal. What I do remember, it makes no sense, honestly. Like a lot of this movie makes no sense. Like some certain plot things. Like for example, why can't they tell the Suicide Squad that they're fighting like mystical beings? Like they just tell them like, oh yeah, we're fighting this thing. We can't tell you what it is. And then they go like, what's all this magic crap? It's like, you know, but they won't tell them. They tell them later on, but like early on they don't. It's like, why? I feel like that'd be important information. Like they have weapons like guns and like mallets and like boomerangs. I'm pretty sure maybe you should tell them on, oh, by the way, we're fighting these goop babies and like these like deities or whatever. So yeah, like I don't know, I feel like that's important to mention. And another thing is like I know like one line of dialogue that I do remember, sort of ish. I don't remember exactly how they said it, but like the dancey lady, she was telling her brother, it's like they don't believe in us anymore. They only trust the machines or something like that, like society, humans, whatever. And I was like, where did her hatred for machines come from? That was not indicated at all beforehand. And like that's her whole thing. She's building a machine to destroy the world or whatever. And it's like, why? Where did machines come from? Like, well, where did her hatred for them come from is what I mean. And another thing, Diablo's, I have it written down, Diablo, towards the end, says something like, oh, you better not hurt my family, or something like, I guess he sees the Suicide Squad as his family. It's like, why? Like, there was nothing really, I don't really see them even grow a bond together. I don't even think for a lot of time they like each other, if I'm being honest. I think one scene that could be somewhat, like, development for them is the bar scene towards the end, but, like, honestly, I don't even think that's enough. I don't think that could be taken that way. But yeah, it's that thing. And other than that, I'm pretty sure other stuff happened. I just cannot remember, honestly. I just like the movie. A lot of the plot points make no sense. It's very unmemorable and uninteresting, and I felt really bored while watching it. One other thing I do remember from the movie is how much licensed music they use. Oh my god, it is terrible. It has gotta be some of the worst uses of licensed music I have seen. Like, there's like such a huge abundance of it. I don't know which one does it worse, Cruella or this one. Cruella might be a movie I might talk about later in the future, but like this one, oh man, it is so bad. It's like legit like one after the other and like in the beginning. It's like just licensed song, licensed song. Like some of them don't even fit the scene they go with. And it's like, I'm not saying the songs they choose themselves are bad. No, I'm not saying this. Some of these are really good songs. I'm just saying in the context of the scene and like how much they use it from scene to scene, it's not that great. Same thing with like Cruella, which is a movie, like I said, I might talk about in the future some other time. That movie, like sure, I like some of those licensed songs, yes, but they just constantly put them over and over, and like they don't even fit the scene sometimes. Like say, that's what I'm saying for here. Basically the same thing applies to this. And like sometimes the scenes that like the songs that they put some scenes to, straight up it just makes the scene come off like as if it's like a really terrible AMV from YouTube. Legit, like, ah man, like I hate the use of like, I don't know what song it is, but like the song that they play when like we see the backstory, I guess, of like when Harley Quinn or like Harleen Quinzel, was before she was Harley Quinn, jumps into the pool, that pool of acid, and then Joker comes in, and then it goes, you got me all about that feeling, or something like that. And that was terrible. I'm sorry. I don't know. That straight up looks like an AMV. If I'm being honest, it is not great. And yeah, this is one of my this movie's gotta be one of the worst uses of licensed songs I have ever seen. Definitely go. Like I said, Cruella. I don't know which one is worse. Cruella might be a movie I might talk about. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the characters, like how some of the performances are actually not that bad. They don't say in the movie, but you know, they're not that bad. And then I forgot some characters were straight up in this, like Diablo, Katana, and Slipknot. I want to talk about some more stuff about the characters though. Like, for example, I don't like a lot of their costumes. Like, Will Smith's character's costume ain't too bad. Diablo looks, I mean, he looks fine. I guess the tattoos look kind of cool. But some of them, like, I don't like Harley Quinn's costume in this. Like, it straight up just looks like oh hey, girls, come get this outfit at your Hot Topic. It's gonna be so fun for the Halloween party, yay, or something like that. I don't like it. It's not my thing though. Let's see, Killer Croc, I don't like his face. It looks like poop. And I don't mean that in like a way, it's like, oh, he has a poop face, I'm making fun of you. Like, no, it straight up looks like it's made out of poop. And I don't see how this movie won Academy Award for Best Makeup. That makeup is terrible, honestly. I hate it. And I just don't like that design. I like it more when, like, Killer Croc looks like a giant crocodile. You know, I personally like that more. Maybe they could have done something like that, but, like, no, this one's just, it looks gross, if I'm being honest. Captain Boomerang, he looks like some hobo or whatever. I'm not a big fan of it. And like the costumes, like I said, most of them aren't that great. Like, I mean, some of them are not saying are like terrible. Like I said, Will Smith's one and Katana's, I guess looks fine. It's like, I'm just saying, I just don't like some of these designs for the outfits. And what else is there? One more thing. Oh yeah, I just remembered. One more thing about this movie. It's kind of hard to believe that some of these characters are the same ones that show up in later movies, like specifically in The Suicide Squad, like Amanda Waller, Harley Quinn, and especially Rick Flag. Rick Flag in this movie is nothing like he was in The Suicide Squad, and the same goes for Harley Quinn. She acts very different. Like, the writing for her is different here than it is in like The Suicide Squad, which is where the writing for that character was better. And I heard she was actually also like the Birds of Prey movie was actually not that bad and like was actually pretty good. I might have to check that out sometime. I heard she's better in that one. But here it's like they kind of don't act the same way they do later on, honestly. And it's not like a change in the character, like, oh, something happens in here that changes the way they do. It's like, no, I mean, like, straight up, like, the way they're written is like different. And honestly, I do kind of like that like they don't bring the bad stuff in the later movies. They just, like, you know, they only bring the good stuff. And it's like, but like, that's the thing, another thing about this movie. Not that I've seen the immensely better The Suicide Squad, which is completely better and even does some of these characters more justice. And like, the fact that some of these characters, like, most of the characters from this movie don't even come back, and not just The Suicide Squad, but even the later DCEU movies, they don't come back. It kind of makes this movie pointless to watch. Like, I kind of go, like, when I was rewatching it, like, now that I've seen, like, the better Suicide Squad movie, I was going, like, oh my god, there is, like, almost, like, no, there is absolutely no point to watch this, especially since The Suicide Squad, I know I'm saying that a lot, I was like, David, we get it, it's the better movie, whatever, I want to talk about it because I really liked it. The Suicide Squad kind of works as, like, a soft reboot, so if you've never seen, like, this Suicide Squad movie before, you don't have to. Just go watch that one. You don't even have to watch this one to understand it. Also, you shouldn't because this one's bad. But it's like, yeah, it makes this movie feel almost like pointless to exist. Like, it's like, there's no need to. Everything, it was done. Things are done better here. Some characters are brought back. Some of these characters aren't even that important in the grand scheme of things, honestly. Like, you know, it feels like there's no point to this, you know? Hey, so, here's the thing about some comic book movies. The action can sometimes be pretty good in some of these movies. Like, even if the movie itself is not that great, the action can sometimes somewhat save it, you know, right? What about in this movie? The action is very uninteresting. It's like, I was at least hoping that we were watching this, I was like, maybe the action is better, you know, right? And I remember, maybe it's like, oh, the movie itself is bad, but like, there's at least some cool fight scenes. There aren't really anything. Most of them are just kind of boring to watch, and it's like, most of the time they're fighting those goop babies, and it's like, I can't even say a lot of it. I can't even say a lot, is what I mean. Where, like, because I can barely remember it, and from what I do remember, it's just standard, oh, shoot, oh, look, pow, pow, you know, stuff. I'm terrible at sound effects, but it's like, I don't know exactly how to describe it. It just felt boring to watch. Like, I could be like, I've seen this in other movies, sometimes just done better. Here it's just standard action, you know, right? Felt uninteresting. I felt bored, you know? So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about the action. It's just, it's not very good. Now we gotta talk about what's probably the most notorious thing from this movie. The one thing that everyone goes to, Jared Leto's Joker. And behind the scenes, I don't know all the details, but apparently what I do know is that Jared Leto took the role a little too far, where he was doing this method acting where he was sending people rats in the mail or something like that. It's like, it was weird, you know. And but was it all worth it though? No, his Joker sucks, honestly. I hate it. I don't know entirely who to blame. The director, the actor, the studio. I'm just gonna say all three. You know, his Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, is very, very not good, honestly. Like, first of all, I hate the design. I hate the costume. The damage tattoo, it looks weird. And, like, I personally like it more when the Joker looks like a clown. So that's why, you know, it's like, yeah, it's silly, but when he does like like all the scary stuff, it feels kind of scary. It's like, oh, but he doesn't look scary though. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like that's the way I look at it. And even some Joker designs, like let's say Heath Ledger's Joker from like from Dark Knight, or even like some of the ones from the comics where like his skin is like kind of like tearing off and it's like he has blood everywhere. Some of those actually look pretty cool and even scary in some instances, you know, right? It actually looks good. But here, I feel like they went a little too far with some of this stuff. Like, for example, the tattoos, the grill on the teeth. Like, he looks like a pimp, if I'm being honest. He looks more like a pimp. It's like, I can barely take this design seriously. I get that I'm supposed to be like scared of him or whatever, but it doesn't work because I'm too busy laughing at him. He looks stupid. And the actual acting on him is not very good. I heard that a lot of scenes were cut, and who knows, maybe those scenes could have been good. I think there's an extended version of this movie. I don't feel like watching it, honestly. This was already a pain to watch. I don't want to watch like a longer version of it. But like the Joker here is like, yeah, not good. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's like if it's like okay, I'm stuttering all over. Okay, let me explain. Okay, so remember how Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, and like the Joker was in it for like a quick scene, and he was played by Jared Leto, and some people were all like, whoa, he's actually pretty good. You know, maybe Jared Leto is not a bad decision to play the Joker. It was just the way he was directed, or the direction he went with his character in Suicide Squad. And some part of me goes, you know, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that. I didn't think his Joker in like Zack Snyder's Justice League was great. There are definitely better. He wasn't even in the movie that long, so I can't even fully say. But his Joker was fine. It worked. And who knows? You know, maybe if he was given another project to the Joker, maybe it could work. But I don't want to see it honestly. After this, I hate Jared. I'm kidding. I don't know much about him, but just like I don't like this Joker is what I'm saying. And yeah, it's very bad. So before I end this video off, I just want to talk about how this movie made me feel this time while watching it. I mentioned this before. The first time I saw this movie was when I rented it off Redbox. Like, I want to say maybe a year after it came out. And I thought it was fine, but I barely remembered afterwards. And then I decided to rewatch it last year for preparation for The Suicide Squad. And I remember it being so bad, like just unbearable to watch. I just felt like I just didn't want to watch it anymore. But I sat through it. I watched it from beginning to end in one sitting, and I regretted it. And it ended up being one of my least favorite movies of all time. Probably my least favorite comic book movie, definitely. Not just my least favorite DCU, my least favorite comic book movie. I just went out of it with like a bitter taste, and it just like, I really disliked it. But this viewing, I wanted to go on with more of an open mind, thinking like, hey, maybe it won't be this bad. Now that I know what to expect, maybe I won't hate it as much. And some of that is true, but at the end, I kind of ended up hating it more. Especially now that I've seen The Suicide Squad, it makes this movie feel pointless. I just had this feeling of like, why am I even watching this anymore? If it wasn't for making this video, I probably wouldn't have watched it. Like, and I probably would have stopped at the 5-minute mark. And like, I didn't even watch it in one sitting this time. I just felt so uninterested and so bored. And it's just like, I had this feeling of like, why am I watching this? This is pointless. And I watched half of it one day, half a day the next day, and half of it the next day. And yeah, it was terrible. And I really disliked this movie. It's like I said, it's my least favorite DCU movie, and I still it might be my least favorite comic book movie. And no, yeah, that's what I'm saying now. It is my least favorite comic book movie, and I might even go as far to say it's my least favorite movie of all time, if I'm being honest. I think there are some movies that I think are technically worse, and I'm sure there are other movies that I haven't seen that are definitely worse than this. But as of right now, this is the movie that, like, honestly, I would least want to go back to. I'm at least happy that I got to make this video because I still had fun making this video, and so far I think it's turning out pretty well. But after this is done, I will probably never rewatch this movie again. I probably won't even want to look at it ever again. And I'm just done with Suicide Squad. But I don't want to end this video on a negative note because DC didn't. Because you know what the next movie they did afterwards, after Suicide Squad? It was Wonder Woman. And that movie was great, and it showed good signs for DC, or at least for the DCEU, I mean. I'm pretty sure the next movie was Wonder Woman, right? I'm sorry, I'm messing this up. Look, the next movie was Wonder Woman, and yeah, after that we got Justice League. But like, afterwards, we got some really good stuff. We got Shazam. Aquaman was pretty fun. The Suicide Squad was like a god-tier comic book movie. And like, we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. We finally got to see his version of Justice League. And I'm excited to see where they go next. Some of their next movies look pretty good. And I think DC is in a better time now. I remember, and I'm happy for that. I'm excited to see where the DCU will go next, or what like the next DC movies will look like. I'm just happy. I'm ready to leave the past behind with Suicide Squad, and I'm ready to move forward for, whatever we get next from the DCEU. Speaking of leaving things behind, there's just one more matter I gotta get to. Hey, Sanguis, was it? I'm really sorry for closing the door on you and not taking you seriously. Even though you are an intruder I've never met before that was in my closet without my knowing, and I'm pretty sure that's a crime?
Well, it's not my fault that your closet is connected to a portal to the dark magic vampire realm.
The what?
Well, I'm still upset at you. I can't believe you're not scared of me. I guess everyone back home was right. I am a lousy vampire.
If it makes you feel any better, I'll say that I was initially kinda spooked by you, and I might have even been more scared if you were the first weird thing I've ever encountered before.
So, you're saying that I actually scared you?
Sure, a little bit though.
Awesome! I'm gonna go tell everyone.
Alright, bye. Okay, that was a little weird.